Well, I saw Tim Green was in the chat, and I haven't seen him in a minute. I was just thinking about Tim Green, Eric, and here we are. It is I think this is episode 6. I'm starting to list them as with the number so that people can find them easier, because that's what everyone's doing nowadays in the podcast world. It's week 2 of the season, and Eric, how you doing?
Brother, I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I just we were talking we basically were using all our mojo before the show. We're on different sides of this Ohio problem, and the problem is people think it's either going to be a test for the Mountaineers, which I think is going to be a test, or it's going to be a trap. And I just think it's going to be a little hurdle that the Mountaineers will overcome and win big. And Eric, you think it might be actually be a trap game?
I think it's the definition of a trap game, except for a few things. By the way, shout out to Afton. Good to see you. Ohio's a legit program. I mean, they are for real, and a lot of people aren't used to saying that. In particular, they're a MAC program. They aren't nationally televised on a regular basis by any means. We had an opponent first, opening season opponent that maybe not the biggest challenge, and then we have our big rival coming up next week. So people think we're going to overlook this team. So by that definition, yes. But I don't think our program's overlooking. I certainly don't think Rich and the team is overlooking them. And I think the showing that the Bobcats put up against Rutgers, I don't think anybody's sleeping on this Ohio team.
No, I don't think they're sleeping. I don't think they're off of anybody's radar right now. I think that's just, they're not sneaky. It's just like Boise State back in the day. They could sneak in and upset a few folks, but I think people understand that that's a quality program. The quarterback is legit. The coaching staff for the past umpteen years, I mean, they basically hire from within. It's just lockstep. Hey, cookie cutter, boom. Next man up. Let's just produce quality athletes that are well prepared, well coached, and well disciplined, and get some wins. Last year they had 11 wins. That's the first in Ohio's storied pro. They've been around and they've been playing the Mountaineers since 1897. So this goes back. They've been playing a minute. So it's not like that just Wofford or some school that they just put on the schedule last minute. This is interesting, and a lot of fans, Mountaineer fans, have bought season tickets, not Mountaineer season tickets, but season tickets to Ohio, the Bobcats in Athens, so they can get tickets to this game. Anybody did that, Eric? Any crazies?
No, I don't know why you got to pick on Wofford. I mean, come on, the Terriers deserve some respect, but okay, you're going to pick on them. It's all right. Now, but yeah, I don't know anybody personally, but this is a great opportunity for Mountaineer fans to travel. You're looking at about a 3.5, 4 hour trip, and you can be at the game at what's going to be a historic game.
Yeah, I mean, if you live down towards Parkersburg or over in that neck of the woods, maybe in that side of the state, it's even closer. I mean, it's probably just 2/3 the distance of driving to Morgantown. So Morgantown's a distance. If you're down in Beckley, or if you're guys, the geography of West Virginia as well as I do. There's no easy way to get to Morgantown but up. And you guys can get up into Athens. Athens is easy. The only logistical problem is hotels. And I heard hotels, there's some issues. You have to stay up maybe in Columbus. And of course, we heard the tickets. But I emailed it to myself, but I didn't pull it up. But I have the picture here. And literally, guys, I'm going to read it to you and you guys can follow along. But West Virginia ticket for Ohio is the third most expensive ticket this week in college football. And number one is what is Oklahoma and Notre Dame. I think it's number one. If I can pull back up.
Not bad.
That's crazy. I can't believe that. No, I just can't believe that at all. So now it's worth the drive. Now it's not worth the drive if they get upset. I don't know what the college experience is there, other than they have a hell of a good Halloween party supposedly in Athens. But did you ever hear about that?
I've not heard about this.
They're supposed to have the best Halloween bash out there in Athens. But let's look. I had this pulled up earlier, and I'm going to pull it up again.
Before you do that, I'm going to, that's great that about the ticket price. That's what we want. We want to be relevant, and we're already starting to get there.
And yeah, Eric, every week I talk a little bit about the ticket price and how that is an indicator of health. You know how they say, like, your teeth and gums are the indicator of your heart health and all this other happy horse shit. Ticket price is the indicator of a healthy college athletic program. If you're getting a ticket with your supersized McDonald's Happy Meal, it's not going well for your college program. Just saying. So right here we have, of course, our beloved Mountaineers on the left, represented in yellow, and the Ohio Bobcats are in green. Believe it or not, Eric, 13 wins for the Mountaineers and 4 for the Ohio Bobcats.
Don't sleep on those cats.
Yeah, and
they'll scratch you.
The first meeting was in 1897, and Ohio they bettered the Mountaineers there, and that was their longest win streak. That back in 1897, one game, and they've won a couple here and there. So, West Virginia over the past since the 50s has basically owned Ohio. But what your thought? I'm going to switch this up so you can view it a little bit differently, and we can see the scores. The biggest win percent, the biggest margin of victory was 1983 of 52 points. So let me see here. There we go. It's thinking. There we go. All right, guys. So here we go. 1897, 1898. They played back-to-back years. Mountaineers won in 1898, 1905, 1906. They played in Parkersburg, Morgantown. Most of these games are either in Parkersburg or Morgantown. You have to go back to 1949 to when they played in Athens, and the Bobcats won 17-7. So here's a fun fact, kids. West Virginia has not won in Athens ever. Eric, you're calling for maybe there might be some storm clouds overhead. What are the problems facing the Mountaineers?
First of all, you got to start with Ohio's offense. Their offense is very legit. I'm going to jump back to the Rutgers game for just a second. That Rutgers game, I'm going to say Ohio should be really upset about this. They should have won that game. Rutgers blocks a punt, recovers it in the end zone for a touchdown. That single play right there, when that happens in any game, the team that scores the touchdown wins 90% of those games. So one slip up, and Ohio puts themselves, in a position with a 10% chance to win. That's really tough to come back from. But looking at what they actually did, forget the fluke play. You look at Navarro. That guy is Garrett Green version 2. He is a playmaker. He can definitely do it with his feet. There's no question. He had huge gains on last Saturday. He's got a good arm. He can throw the ball, not just, he's not a gunslinger. He has accuracy too. So he's one of those guys, if we don't make him one-dimensional, we're going to have a problem with him.
So you're saying that with that read option, the safeties and the corners have to come up and make plays on him, or it's going to be a long day for the Mountaineers, right?
Well, I'm not saying it, but you did. Thank you for saying it for me.
No, I think I no, I didn't say that. Coach Dunlap did on the Three Guys podcast. I'm just I just
Yeah.
listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of other folks.
Now I'll tell you
No,
something else too. Have you seen they have a receiver, Hendricks? He's another big talent. They got two running backs. They're both very powerful. Um, look for their jet sweep. I don't know if you saw them run that. They don't run it a lot, but they will get some yards on that jet sweep. And that's a play where if we don't have a safety, because I'm looking for the safeties to make that play. If that doesn't get made, that could be a problem.
so if
So I'm
safety
sorry.
back, then that's open, and there's going to be some big yards to
Yeah.
get. I would love to see Zach Alley get a little bit feisty and get some, but I don't know how. If the Mountaineers are up, do you foresee Zach Alley getting into the playbook too deep with Pitt on the schedule? Just 8-9 days away.
I think this is one of those games where you can't be cute. Now, I'm not going to give my score prediction. I don't know if you're wanting that now or later. But this is one of those games that you better step on the throat. And so I am very hopeful we're going to see that, like last week's performance was nothing to be embarrassed about. It was nothing to be disappointed in from the Mountaineers defense.
Yeah.
But this week, man, I'm hoping Zach pulls out some stops. Because like I said, this is going to be, I actually think this offense is going to be better than Pitt's.
Ooh, that's big praise, because people around Pittsburgh think they have something. I don't know what it is other than a steaming pile of hot garbage.
You can't blame them. They're used to playing in the ACC. To them, I mean, we're talking the MAC champions here. This is the MAC. This isn't the ACC.
I think of that song and Miggity 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 Mac, remember? Oh my, terrible. But Coop's in the house. Hey, Coop. Good to see you. Coop says Rod, I believe, will run a balanced offense because the Ohio defense is poo emoji. Poo emoji. And Tim's Green, his score prediction is 38-24 Ohio. That is very plausible. I could see that. I wouldn't want to see Ohio score 24, but that with that quarterback and the tools and the assets they have, they could absolutely score 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. So with the game being 4 o'clock, we talked a little bit about this, and we'll get back into the game in a little bit. I think 4 o'clock's a sweet spot, because I said this last year, and I said it to you 20 minutes ago. I literally turned off the Pitt game last year at when it was 3rd and 25, thinking, good job, boys. Mountaineers have it. I got yard work to do.
Yeah.
So fast. Don't do that this week, kids. Don't do it this week. Unless the Mountaineers are up 4 touchdowns.
For a game like this, the 4 o'clock is the perfect time. Let's put it this way. At 4 o'clock, you've got most of your day as a fan to do things you want to do. You want to run to the lake. You want to do some yard work. Maybe the honey-do list is a little too long. You got to get some stuff kicked out. So you got time there. But then you get to kick off the evening a little early, sit back, have yourself, I don't know, maybe some barbecue or something, enjoy the game. And if we win, that's great. You got to enjoy the game. God forbid something goes south and goes sideways and we get upset. 4 o'clock is that sweet spot where the entire nation's not going to be watching. And quite honestly, if they do, there's enough going to go on the rest of the evening. They'll forget about this thing. That being said, I'm not predicting an upset. But what do you think, man?
I don't, I think that first quarter is going to be set the tone. I know those coaches have beat it into those poor young men's heads at ball security. Don't carry the ball on the outside. Carry like a loaf of bread. Vaughn is a hell of an athlete, and I think you're going to see a lot of great things from this receiver. He's going to have 80, 90, 100 yards maybe. Hopefully no fumbles. Maybe that's all out of their system. We hope so. If you're going to get fumbles, get them out of your system early, because you don't want them to come against a Pitt or maybe a Utah later in the season when there might be some conference, maybe some conference playoff implications in play. But Fiona has 48-20.
I love that prediction. What do you think?
Was that the pup school pick, or was that your pick, Fiona? I don't know. But Coop says soft edge. Ohio has soft edge. So everything's at Ohio. No, really, I think it's going to be an interesting test to see where, because I think Ohio is a good quality football team this year. I don't know how good Rutgers is. That's the thing. Rutgers could just crap the bed and go, lose 6 games straight, and we just look back and be like, oh, well, it is what.
Well, here's the thing. Frank Solich, was let go at Nebraska, and Nebraska's never really recovered. They're still trying to get back to where they hoped they would be. Frank Solich came to, Ohio. He's like, let me show you how this is done, Nebraska. He lays down the template, and Ohio has never looked back. They have taken what he established as a program. And I mean, if Alabama hadn't laid an egg in the opening game of the season, I would say that Ohio is the Alabama of the MAC. They've had 2 coaching changes. They haven't really changed the way they're running that ship. They are attracting great talent. And Shane, we were talking about, prior to the, when we were going through the rehearsal for this, what was that, like 7 o'clock this morning? We've been practicing all day. I don't know. What were we saying about the transfer portal in Ohio?
They actually, guys go there. They might not get the time or just enough video that they want for either NIL or just maybe for the next level. They get quality guys. They get guys that just are getting looked over. And that seems to be the Memphises, the Ohios, your Boise States. These programs are benefiting from NIL. You wouldn't think that because they don't have the purse strings, but these guys are getting overlooked. And when that window opens, it also shuts. And when that window's just about ready to shut, some of these guys are just like, okay, I got to find a place to land. Like musical chairs we used to play when we were a kid. You might have one butt cheek on that, but that one butt cheek's on Ohio, and you're landing on Ohio, brother. You're going to be a Bobcat, and you're going to play, and you're going to love it, and you're going to try to get on NIL, and you're going to play for Solich back when he, and the stadium's named after him,
Yeah.
Now it's like rinse and repeat. That's the blueprint that he established with that program, and everybody it's the factory. And for the MAC, they're competing year in, year out. They're competing for conference championships. So
you nailed it. And that, just to kind of expand a little bit on that NIL, that aspect of college football can't be overstated. Everybody's worried about NIL versus that's where their focus is. But the transfer portal opened up avenues for players that didn't necessarily fit in at other programs for whatever reason. Now there are databases, and they're largely based on the EA database for players. You can go in as a program and you can say, we really need a guy who has these sorts of statistics, who shows they can do whatever sorts of things. And because they have player rankings that can evaluate players, objectively at every position, you can go into those databases and do searches. You don't even have to know these players. You do go in and search for a type of player based upon the actual statistics. That database will bring you 4 or 5 candidates, and you can go approach those players and say, I know you're at Rutgers. I know you're at UCLA. How would you like to come to Ohio? You'd fit into our program. We'll get you a little bit more playing time, get you some more exposure, try to get you into a better position for either your next landing spot or maybe the next level.
Yeah, and these kids have video. I mean, it's not like you just get some black and white blurry or some VHS video that you just get from way up at the top of the crow's nest on some, foggy October, Friday night where no, they put drones up. Do you know that, Eric? They put drones up at high school ball and they videotape this. That's what these coaches are getting. And they're getting multiple angles when they dissect this tape. And that's what's getting, pushed up to these recruiters that are getting these guys in as freshmen. So when you're sophomore, junior, and you've been at Ohio, or you've been a Wofford or James Madison, or a smaller school, you have lots of film, lots of practice film, a lot of film, live film. They don't. It's not a mystery. This isn't, let's take Daryl Talley that's 165 pounds and put some muscle on him and roll the dice. And, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. It's not magic. This isn't like, Joey and me last year picking Arizona State into the Magic 8-ball. It's just happenstance. There's a science to it, and it's a sweet science. Now, you don't really have a gauge for like the badass test. There's no badass meter where that some knucklehead from middle of nowhere at a Division III school is going to be breaking face masks and busting through the middle like Owen Schmidt did. We just don't know that that's going to happen. No one's going to know that, but you kind of know how fast they are. Can they make that read when they hit that hole? Are they going to the legs are going to be moving when they make contact? Are they going to have that extra gear when that contact's made? I mean, that's what you see on film when you see like Edwards, when you see Bowers, as running backs, that's what you see. But anyways, let's go to the chat. So Tim says, Fiona Biscuit, this is a great statement and like to be one heck of a great, it's going to be one great game. So Fiona said, why doesn't Marshall play Ohio, the Bobcats, every year? I have to add the Bobcats in there because I don't want people thinking we're talking about Ohio State, whatever they are. Ohio State, whatever.
The Buckeyes.
They say Buckeyes. I think about Christmas cookies. I think about those delicious chocolate cookies with peanut butter inside. I don't think about college football. I think about my belly just getting a little bit bigger in January from eating all those delicious Christmas cookies. And we're in freaking September. We're September 4th, and I'm thinking about Christmas cookies. It's going to be a long. Oh. And by the way, Eric makes some really damn good cookies. What are the name of those addictive cookies you make? They're like really pretty, like a lime green, yellow.
Oh, that meth on a wafer.
Meth on a wafer.
No,
there you go.
No, they're called gravy. It's a Middle Eastern cookie.
Oh man, that's some good stuff.
As my dad would say, Lebanese shortbread.
Lebanese shortbread. Nothing short about that. It hits you. You're like, oh, it's so good. And by the time you have 5, you're just like, oh, you're just in it's like a insulin coma. It's so good. Anyways, so we've hit Ohio. We talked a little bit about what happened last week with Rutgers. We talked about what happened with the Mountaineers stumbling with some fumbles. Let's talk about Pat Mack. We always have to talk about Patty Mack. Do you think there's some truth to the rumors that game day is coming? If the Mountaineers win, game day is going to be coming into Morgantown. What do you think? Give us odds, Eric. What do you think?
Me.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear from the community to see what they're saying. But
guys, give us odds.
To be honest with you, I'm not going to be sold on that yet. But I love the fact that we're talking about it. I love the fact that that's actually a possibility. And quite honestly, there is enough of a national following that people understand the 13-9 score is significant. People understand.
Yeah.
There's actually videos out there on YouTube that talk about the significance of us losing the Pitt in 2007 and how that changed the entire face of college football. And until you actually watch, I'll see if I can pull that video up. It is amazing the domino effect that game had. So the fact that people are aware of that, and the fact this game is being played on 9/13, the fact that Rich has come back, there's a lot of things to consider bringing it back. That being said, I don't know that we're there yet. I'd love to think it's a possibility, especially with Pat Mack's influence. I'm going to give it a 30% chance of happening.
Get some soap and wash your mouth out, Eric. You are crazy that shit. No way. Come on, Chad, help me out. I think there's a 75% chance. Absolutely, without a doubt. Now, it'll probably even go up higher than that if even if Pitt loses and West Virginia wins. I think there's still a chance. Still a chance because you got the date, you got Pat Mack. He has to be working. You know, McAfee's going to be elected into the Hall of Fame that weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have that going. So he's going to be there. I think everything's lining up for it to be a big weekend. If that happens, you know, we talk about this every week. We talked about it earlier in the show. Ticket sales are going to go through the roof price-wise.
Oh, yeah.
$90 this week for Ohio. I mean, it's going to be $250 a ticket. It was $225 on average for the Penn State game. It's going to be through the roof. It's going to be crazy.
It'll be at least $250. I agree with you. So what's your odds? What do you think our chances? What percentage of a chance do you think we have?
If West Virginia wins, I say 80%. Easy.
Wow, that high.
That high. Yeah.
I gave you too many cookies, man. You're having lingering effects.
I would agree with whatever you said if you fed me those cookies. They're so good. These cookies are fantastic. Literally. I'm ordering some. Put me down for a dozen. I'm buying 2 dozen I'm buying them from you.
Mountaineer dozen. There we go.
So now final segment here. I'm gonna pull up some games scheduled for this week. I had it up and I shut it because I got so darn excited about this Pitt West Virginia showdown. I'm going to pull up the schedule and we're going to go through a few games. So you're going to tell me which ones you have to watch and which ones you're just like, I don't really care. Who cares, Shane? That's terrible. And then we'll see if Chad wants to chime in, and then we'll just close it down for the night. So, FIU and Penn State. What do you think about that one, Eric?
That's a great one to get some lawn work done. Yeah, you needn't worry about that.
That's one I probably won't even track on my phone. Now, Penn State, here, I live north of Pittsburgh. I grew up about 50 miles east of where I live now. So where I grew up, it was Penn State everything, okay? Not a huge Penn State fan, but I grew up going to the games. I think they have a really good team. I think they are legitimately in contention for a championship this year. Natty. I mean, and I hate saying that. It's like, you know, those things you kind of scrape your tongue with after, I just want to scrape my tongue after saying that, but I think that's legit. Next one on the list is East Texas A&M. Not only is it an A&M school, Texas A&M East. I never even knew that it had a directional school for an A&M.
That's exactly where I was going. Directional A&M.
What? So yeah, Florida State. It's going to be 70 to 3. Like, I'm not watching that.
No.
Okay, here's one, Eric, that I think, even if you're a casual fan of college sports in general, you should at least put it on your Put it on your phone, listen on a headset. Iowa State.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a banger. That's probably that's probably going to be one of the top 3 of the week.
Oh yeah.
My opinion.
That's been a great rivalry ever since, no disrespect towards Iowa State. I mean, I think they got a great program now, but back when they weren't such a great program, that was still a scrappy game. There's as much passion in that game as WVU Pitt.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be an Ames, right? So
Yeah.
Indiana, Kennesaw State, and Texas Tech, Kent State. I'll just see what the score is just because it's Texas Tech. Here's one that I think is going to be interesting. I'll pop in and pop out. I'll probably just, do the clicker thing. Baylor, SMU.
You kind of have to watch that one.
Yeah,
SMU's a powerhouse. They look to be really good this year. They are definitely making an investment in that program. And Baylor's one of our Big 12 compatriots. Got to watch. Well, you got to at least pay attention to that game. Your thoughts?
No, I absolutely agree because SMU is ranked and Baylor has showed some flashes, not just because their helmets were like bright gold and ugly as heck. You don't know what you're getting with Baylor. You just really don't. Texas A&M, Utah State, hard pass. Ole Miss, Kentucky. That'll be interesting just to kind of pop in and see what's going on with those two because that's a decent game, not too bad. Troy and Clemson, that's interesting. I have a strange feeling that Troy's gonna be like a halftime score. Be like Troy is trailing by 3. What's going on? It just, I don't know. Just seems like one of those ones that just is a head scratcher.
It's interesting. This Clemson's game against LSU may have lasting effects. That's where you could have one loss turn into multiple, and this will be an interesting. That's going to be one I'm going to be interested to see how they respond. Not much of a fan, but just want to see how they respond. I also want to chime in. Indiana, we gotta watch for our boy Signetti. You got to see. But other than that, I mean, you just check that score after the game.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kurt. His dad coached at IUP. That's where my dad basketball and baseball there, and I grew up in Indiana, PA. So it's interesting. Grambling State and Ohio State. I could give 2 craps. Sorry, guys. I just don't care. East Tennessee State and Tennessee. Once again, the directional school and Tennessee. This is one that if it's close, you're just going to give Tennessee a hard time. Be like, oh, really? You're 22 and it's 10-7 at the half. Doesn't really do anything for anybody. Really. This is one that I think is really interesting. And maybe it's because, Oklahoma State is, in the Big 12, and Oregon is now in the Big 10. I think this is one of those three intriguing games. These matchups. What do you think, Eric?
Anytime the Big 12 is involved, I'm interested. We got to see how we're going to do, especially when it's against a good opponent, especially when it's against a Power 4 conference opponent. How can you not be interested in that game? That's not a bad one to actually watch.
What exactly? That's one you could put on. You watch Iowa State, and then put that one on if you just want to be a lazy bum all day. Iowa State's 12. This would be your second game, and then kind of watch West Virginia maybe on another TV. Put this one on your phone. If you really have a college football problem, or you're a sweaty, nerdy college football dude like we are. So, Austin Peay, Georgia, one of those ones. Just like, okay, how much are they paying Austin Peay to get smacked around? South Florida and Florida. This is interesting. Hear me out, Eric. This might just be one you pass through, but South Florida played real well last week. And Florida this the year that they turned the corner? Because they're kind of hot garbage the past couple years.
South Florida is trying to come back, and I don't care where you're playing in Florida. You have the opportunity to pick up athletes. I don't know what the statistics are. I used to pay attention to that. But at one point, you had something like 70% of the athletes in college football were coming from Florida. It was something absurd.
Yeah.
You literally could put together a game where you could put Floridians who played outside the state versus those inside the state, and you could have an all-star game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It would be Texas and Florida versus the world.
Yeah.
Cal Poly and Utah, really just Utah to kind of see what they're doing because they're in our conference. Miami and Bethune Cookman, I don't know. Miami, man, it's so fun to be a college football fan. I don't like Miami, but I love it when Miami's good. It's good for college football. You know what I mean? It's like having wolves in Yellowstone. Like the aspen trees grow, the trout are doing good, the beaver are doing good. It's just good for college football if the U is doing good.
I gotta agree with you. They're one of the. It's like watching studio wrestling, and no disrespect to studio wrestling because it is very much an athletic event. Don't care if it's predetermined and they're putting on a show. It is the kind of thing that it's storytelling. Miami is part of the storytelling of college football. They are one of the premier programs you love to hate. And when they're good, it makes their matchups that much more interesting because they have played on a national stage for so many years. And so the notion of it's one thing to love to hate a team that's in your own conference, but when they've got national rivalries, it just makes it that much, more interesting. Catholics versus convicts. Everybody remembers that game. The notion of Florida State, Miami, wide, whichever side you want, wide directional. We'll go with that. There's a number of different programs. Oklahoma, I think it was no, it was Nebraska and Miami. So many good matchups. So yeah, you hope that Miami is good, and you want to watch them play whoever the hell they're playing.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the chat here real quick. Sorry, I've been going down the rabbit hole, all this stuff with the schedules because I just get down this. Some of these are intriguing, but Fiona's saying that Rich Rod's redemption story is the top of the brawls. And she gives a chance 60-65% coming to game day. Now, Tim Green says that he thinks Baylor will win against SMU. I hope so. I think that'll happen too. Fiona's rooting for the Bulls. Tim says Ohio State by 55. That's yeah. Thanks, Tim. Prognosticators, Tim Green. Oregon should win this by 30. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I kind of hope Oklahoma State doesn't get their teeth kicked in. I don't know, guys. Let me go back to last few games here. So South Carolina, is South Carolina a pretender or are they legitimately good? We don't really know, but they have, an old ball coach who we used to watch at Virginia Tech. His kid Shane Beamer is their coach. They beat the hell out of Virginia Tech last week. So South Carolina plays South Carolina State. I won't watch it, but I'll check to see what the score is. LSU, LA Tech. That's Terry Bradshaw's old school, I think. Here's one that's interesting, kids. We'll watch this just because Oklahoma used to be in our conference, but Michigan, Oklahoma. Both people in the backyard you're seeing punch each other used to like pick on you and tell you your backpack looked like a purse, and you don't care who gets beat up. You just want to watch it happen. So
that's one of those games where you'd wish there could be two losers.
You know what? That's so true. And if it was a bye week, they'd both be losers, but that's not happening. Arizona State, Mississippi State. This is another intriguing one. This would probably be the third on my tier, like the third on my list. If I had to watch something, this would be it. So, just because Arizona State is ranked, they're in the Big 12. They are defending champs of the Big 12. They're playing an SEC school. And, of course, can Alabama bounce back after getting handled? They got handled last week. That's what I have for our once over the world in college football. And dang, it's getting a little bit spicy. A lot of these matchups are starting to get a little bit more interesting. Iowa State definitely. The Oregon Oklahoma State looks kind of neat. There are some neat ones, but Ohio and West Virginia, in my eyes, is going to be 4:00. I'm going to be sitting right here watching the TV, and I know you're going to be watching it. You're going to make a special trip to Kroger's, get your blue and gold cupcakes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So real quickly, what do you have a prediction you want to share with? If you don't, that's okay. I got one.
Well, I'm thinking along the lines of 31-14, Mountaineers.
Any keys to the game? Any rationale behind that?
I think what happens is it's close early, but West Virginia pulls away.
And that would make sense. That is our blueprint. Rich loves to wear you down, exhaust your defense, and then meanwhile, he has the Bobby Huggins mentality. Bobby used to tell coaches, my 10 are better than your 10. Mm-hmm. Your 5 may be better than mine, but my 10 are better than yours.
Right. And that's just what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be one of those things you're going to see a lot of fresh legs. He's going to have 3 different running backs run the ball. You're going to see 2 different quarterbacks. I mean, Nico's going to get most of the snaps, but Nico, like we said last week, he's 230 pounds. He's literally another cheeseburger, and he's going to be the sniffer. He's going to be the fullback. I mean, he's literally, get him to the trainer table one more time a week, and he's going to have to be a guard. I mean, he's getting to be a big boy. All kidding aside, I think Vaughn is going to eat. There's a lot of hungry guys. Rich Rod said it in his press conference. Edwards didn't get the ball. We're going to fix that. We're going to.
You nailed it. That was my big one. Yeah.
You have a guy that's 6'3", 230, 240 pounds, going to be running the ball, along with 2 guys that are fast as shit. Bowers is fast. You hit him with the speed. When they get tired, you hit them with the power, and then a little bit of speed. And it just makes for a long day. You just don't know how to, because it's about timing. When you're playing in the backfield, it's about timing. It's going to be a rough day for Ohio. I'm sorry, guys. West Virginia has a lot more studs than Rutgers. Maybe I'm a homer, and that's just me. I'm doing a podcast, West Virginia College Show, Voice College Football, West Virginia channel. We kind of we're kind of swayed a little bit, Eric, as you could probably guess, right?
It's going to be hard for us not to be, but realistically, if I give it a range, I don't see us winning by any less than 10. And the upper end, I think it might have been Tim who predicted 48-20. I have a hard time saying that couldn't happen. I think the keys to the game, to me, we control the turnovers. We get a ground game going, especially with Edwards. Yeah, he got a mention from Rich. If we chew up their defense with his big body, and they got to put people up in that box, Cam Vaughn tore up this Ohio secondary last year in their bowl game. I think he can do that again. I think we've got other receivers that they could that Nico could also target. Yeah, at least by 10, and the upper end, who knows?
Well, I'll tell you what, that flew by. That was fast. I mean, son of a gun. We're almost 36 hours from kickoff, and it's going to be week 2 in the books. We'll be back Monday. Myself, Eric, at the Voice of College Football West Virginia channel. This was the West Virginia Collins Show. Guys, Mondays, every Monday at 9 o'clock, you can hear us here on the Voice of College Football YouTube. We're on everything down below there, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook. Guys, we love having you here, Eric. If you miss us, watch us. Afton, thanks for coming on. Tim, I haven't seen you in a minute. So glad to see you. Fiona, Coop, everybody else, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys later. Have a great one, and I'll let you go with the great state of West Virginia flag, and talk to you soon, guys.
Let's go Mountaineers.